Welcome to video 28. Your present is so bright, you've got to wear shades. Hello, friend. Thanks again for being here. In my last video, I talked about truth being the only idea that matters. That is so because how can what's not true really have any meaning? Deception is meaningless because it's not rooted in truth, where all meaning lies. Yet, all of us who believe we are here have become accustomed to living a lie, believing that there's value in what can never be, and even believing that that which has no factual basis has value. Only God's will is true and real. But what is that truth? Don't try to figure it out because it's way beyond comprehension, but easily within the reach of acceptance. Yes, blind acceptance. Perhaps we believe in impossibilities because we have come to the belief that the truth hurts and feel safer living in a bubble of fantasy, which somehow seems to magically shield us from not what is fearsome, dreaded, and not possible, but from the blazing light of truth? Instead of looking away from truth because our egos don't like the extreme brightness of it, which dispels all delusions and lies and solves all problems, might it not be better for our happiness to put on some shades and let God's intense healing light of truth, love, and oneness shine upon our sorry souls and warm our near frozen hearts? Which brings me to the subject of today's video. Today's topic is the present moment. It's so bright, you've got to wear shades. Yes, what we believe is our life can often indeed seem at minimum pointless, and at the extreme, totally cruel, hopeless, and unfair. Yet, can this be true if there is a God? And if there isn't a God, could we even be? God is God, the only God, and he's nothing like anything in the temporal or physical realm, which seems so real to us, who don't realize we dreamed the whole thing up. God is absolute and eternal and has no opposite or adversary because he is one and all at once and forever. He's not good in the sense that we understand good because duality, where there's a belief in good and bad, can't be a reality, as they would cancel each other out. Yet they haven't. Why? Because only good is real and can't be canceled out by what's not real. You may not have noticed this, and you may actively resist the idea of God's absoluteness and deny it with all your being, but do you think that's such a good idea? To deny that God is good and only good with no bad? It's this very false but scary idea that makes us sad and afraid and angry. Think about this for a while. God can only be one by creating by extension, not separation. It's not possible for us to be sad or afraid or even to die because we cannot be anything that God isn't. Nothing we do in the dream of separation, birth, and death, and the world of bodies has any real effect because impossibilities can't alter the forever unchangeable and true. God's will is as certain as he is, and there's nothing else. No seeming happenstance in the physical realm has any effect whatsoever on the only aspect of us that has any reality, our spirit. We are not the imagined part of the mind that thinks it knows and believes it lives within a fragile body that seems to live then die. We are the real mind that knows it knows and does not think. It doesn't need a body because it's already complete and has no needs to fulfill. It was never born to die. It always has been and always will be. This is God's will. In truth, it's not our spirit that we are. We are the spirit who feared it dreamed an impossible dream that it fears is real. That tiny idea has seemingly caught a part of our mind in a loop of fear that it can be caught in a loop of fear. It's not really happening now, before, or ever. It can't. We are and continue to be as God created us, like Him in every respect, and we are where He put us, because there's no other place we could be, because He didn't create any other place but heaven. We are there right now, believe it or not. It doesn't even matter if we don't believe it, because this world will end. And when we wake up from this dream, we will realize that we were never successful in usurping God's will and His absolute authority over reality. No, we did not change His creation, nor were we able to make ourselves out to be what we thought we wanted, nor have we been able to protect ourselves from our true self. We will have realized that there's no place like home. There's no place like home. And we will simply be glad, just like we are when we wake up from a nightmare, only to realize that it never happened. Not even the nightmare happened. God is not angered by what can't happen either. He doesn't even think about it, for if He did, it would be real. And it's not possible for God to not be God, and only God. That's what makes Him God. He's unique, the only being which envelops all ideas. Yet, the only idea is love, because oneness and love are synonymous with each other. They are the same. This is what love is all about. It's not about learning to love another by forgiving the things about them, the aspects that we believe to be different from us or that we deny in ourselves. It's about forgiving the idea that we are not one and the same and appreciating what we are as one. For what is one cannot attack nor be attacked. Our brothers, all of them, are the self-same, single creation of God that we must be. For there is only God and His extension, which is what we must be and are, despite any and all beliefs to the contrary. We must stop judging against ourselves by judging what seems to be external to ourselves. There is no external to us. There is no external to ourself. We are the internal and the external and the eternal. We are not implicit, we are explicit, like God. We have no shades of gray. We are a bright, hot, white light with no shadows at all. So how do we deal with fear then? What fear? There is no fear. There's only a mistaken belief that fear could exist and that it could have power. The ego, which is not what we are, is morbidly afraid of truth because it dispels it. Love doesn't even cancel out fear. It simply shines it away, just like the light removes the darkness that was never there because the light was always there. Fear has a way of only growing in our imagination when we acknowledge it as real. Yet there are facts and there are lies. Love is true and real and factual. Fear is unreal, so it's a non-issue. It's not even worth thinking about in the slightest. In fact, thinking about it is what makes it seem real. Just forget it. It has no power. Even if we think about it, it's nothing. There was never a time when it was real, and there was never a time when what we feared really happened. God in His blazing light of truth, grace, and mercy has always swept in like a flash flood right when it needed to and saved the day. If you dare to do so, look back at every fear you ever had. Has God not always come in and saved you from danger? Has He not always lifted you out of harm's way and put you back on solid footing? Are you not right now better off than you were before? The fact that you are watching this video is proof that things couldn't be much better here on earth than they are right now. This is proof that fear is a lie and that God is the only reality. But there are many signs. Look around you with your spiritual eyes. All there is to see is God and His love smiling at us from every single direction, non-stop. This is truth. Why does it seem so hard to realize this sometimes? Because we are caught in a non-existent temporal sequence. We nearly always, in our imagination, think about the past. We judge the now, and in doing so, make what we think the present is the past, because it takes time to judge. This process causes the now to not be noticed, and instead, we look right past it to a past that's not there, as if it were the present, which it's not. We judge in fear of what must be beyond our control and comprehension, and in doing so, cover the now and the future with the past judgment we just made and keep making nearly each instant. The now is not gone, it's just not being looked at with our spiritual eyes of blind acceptance, appreciation, and love. What we think we see is what we have decided the now must be, and this assessment is full of fear because it's dark. The light is only in the now moment, which is beyond our understanding. Yet it's who and what we are, and we are fully alive in it and in it only. In the past, we are dead. In the future, we don't exist. So this causes us a great deal of confusion. Hello. Dreams really are confusing and make no sense, yet this need not be. Turn away from the dark ego and let the bright light of our true self shine. And now, Jesus' words from chapter 4 of A Course in Miracles. When you are sad, know this need not be. Depression comes from a sense of being deprived of something you want and do not have. Remember, you are deprived of nothing except by your own decisions, and then decide otherwise. When you're anxious, realize that anxiety comes from the capriciousness of the ego, and know this need not be. You can be as vigilant against the ego's dictates as for them. When you feel guilty, remember that the ego has indeed violated the laws of God, but you have not. Leave the, quote, sins of the ego to me. That is what atonement is for. But until you change your mind about those whom your ego has hurt, the atonement cannot release you. While you feel guilty, your ego is in command, because only the ego can experience guilt. This need not be. Watch your mind for the temptations of the ego and do not be deceived by it. It offers you nothing. When you have given up this voluntary dispiriting, you will see how your mind can focus and rise above fatigue and heal. Yet you are not sufficiently vigilant against the demands of the ego to disengage yourself. This need not be. The habit of engaging with God and His creations is easily made if you actively refuse to let your mind slip away. The problem is not one of concentration. It is the belief that no one, including yourself, is worth consistent effort. Side with me consistently against this deception and do not permit this shabby belief to pull you back. The disheartened are useless to themselves and to me, but only the ego can be disheartened. Have you really considered how many opportunities you have had to gladden yourself and how many of them you have refused? There is no limit to the power of a son of God, but He can limit the expression of His power as much as He chooses. Your mind and mine can unite in shining your ego away, releasing the strength of God into everything you think and do. Do not settle for anything less than this and refuse to accept anything but this as your goal. Watch your mind carefully for any beliefs that hinder its accomplishment and step away from them. Judge how well you have done this by your own feelings, for this is the one right use of judgment. Judgment, like any other defense, can be used to attack or protect, to hurt or to heal. The ego should be brought to judgment and found wanting there. Without your own allegiance, protection, and love, the ego cannot exist. Let it be judged truly, and you must withdraw allegiance, protection, and love from it. You are a mirror of truth in which God Himself shines in perfect light. To the ego's dark glass, you need but say, I will not look there, because I know these images are not true. Then let the Holy One shine on you in peace, knowing that this and only this must be. His mind shone on you in your creation and brought your mind into being. His mind still shines on you and must shine through you. Your ego cannot prevent Him from shining on you, but it can prevent you from letting Him shine through you. Pensive thought to ponder. Do you think you have no control over your life or yourself and its destiny? Do you think you have nothing to do with yourself? Do you think you're a product of your environment and have become whatever you think you are as a result of a mean and cruel world that has victimized you? Well, sorry to tell you, but that's not in the slightest bit true. Nothing can happen without our consent, and nothing can happen without God. The answer to your fear is that you cannot be anything except what God created you to be. You can believe otherwise, but no belief can stand up to the truth of God's eternal and absolute authority. Hide as you may from truth, but no lie will ever be true, and no lie can ever change who you are in truth and in heaven, where you stand right now. Thank God, God is love, and that you must be too. Believe it or not. Throw out all other ideas if you want to experience the peace of God today. See you in my next video.